All right, guys, so here we are. We're at the gym. Just gonna get some my supplements going on. So as I'm scooping this up, this is for post-workout. I have some stuff like my vitamins and whatnot, some stuff for my joints. But today we're gonna talk about a very important exercise that I feel is critical for someone who's doing bodybuilding. It's also critical for someone who's in any type of sports, such as martial arts. In our case, this is the channel about martial arts. We do Muay Thai, fitness, mixed martial arts, as well as jiu-jitsu videos. One thing I find is really important is shoulder integrity. So shoulder integrity is keeping the healthy shoulders, keeping them strong, and keeping them very mobile, all right, for your sport. Because in jiu-jitsu, for example, you're gonna be doing a lot of stuff where it requires that hinge of your shoulder to rotate in all sorts of directions, as well as in boxing and Muay Thai, or mixed martial arts for that matter, if you're shooting, or you're boxing, throwing punches, and when you're rolling and countering some shots, all right? So the shoulders are probably one of the most important muscle group you should keep healthy. And I'm not just saying about going strong, whatnot, but the exercise I want to talk about today is going to be one of my favorite old school types of exercise, and it's called the dumbbell cross bench pullover. So the dumbbell pullover is something that's seldom used in today's training program simply because it seems like it's old school. So a lot of people don't know if it should be used for developing your chest muscle or it should be developing your back as your lats, for example. I find it hits both. And luckily for me, when I train chest, like today, it's gonna be chest and back. So, you know what, enough talk. I'm gonna discuss a little bit once we get there. The dumbbell pullover is gonna be an accessory exercise that you wanna do after, say, for example, a few strength exercises. In this case, gonna be benches. So once you're done, you wanna add in a few sets of dumbbell pullovers. You can just do them on your day off as well. And it doesn't require a gym to do it. You just grab a light dumbbell or even a gallon of water, for example. The idea is to stretch and keep your shoulders mobile, hit the lats, hit the pec muscles. And you know what? Enough talk, let's hit the gym. All right, so on the dumbbell pullover, here we are. So we're training chest and back today. So as you've seen, there's a couple of exercises of pressing movements that we're working for the pushing portion of the workout. Okay, so the chest is gonna be the bench and the incline. We just did those 4 sets of each, but now we're in the midway point of the chest and back workout. And what's beautiful about the dumbbell cross bench pullover, and I say cross bench because you'll see in a second how I place my body. I don't go on the bench, I go crossing myself on the bench because that engages your core and focuses on stabilizing and firing up your glutes as well as your posture as well. So let's take a look. I'm gonna do a set here. You don't want to go too heavy using these, so I'm only going to be using a 35 pound. And mind you, I do go up as we go up in reps, so I like to always train sets of, let's say if I'm doing 4 sets like we're doing today, I'm going to do my first set at 15 reps, second set is going to be at 12 reps, and on the third set it's going to be 10 reps, and my last set is going to be my heaviest set, which is going to be 8 repetitions, okay? So every time I go 1 set up, I lower my reps slightly, but I also increase my poundages. So I'm gonna work myself from anywhere from 30, 35 pounds, all the way up to 40, 45, even 50 pound dumbbells for 8 reps, okay? But weight is not important, form is, all right? So now, before I start, a lot of people wonder, I got some questions on Instagram I posted on the dumbbell pullover. People said, is that a chest exercise, is that a back exercise? And there's a lot of confusion. I think it's both. It is both, actually. I don't think it is both, but it depends on how you're doing it, all right? So in my case, I'm gonna do a little bit of each because I'm training chest and back, and I like to use it at the end of my chest workout, just before I start my back exercise, because it kind of like warms up your lats. Now, the back exercise is mostly like an accessory exercise. The dumbbell pullover is going to be an accessory, meaning accessory is going to be like it's not a compound movement, like let's say a deadlift, bent over row, or even for chest, going to be your inclines and bench presses, for example. Now, this one, you're isolating a little bit more, all right? So it's almost like doing a dumbbell fly or a cable crossover or whatnot, but using free weights. I love free weights more than machines simply because you have your natural range of motion during execution of your movements. Now, like I said earlier, The dumbbell pullover is an old school exercise, and it's not really used a lot because a lot of people are fanatics about all these high-tech machines and whatnot. But back in the days, at least in my days, we didn't have all the fancy machines. We did, but you know, they were kind of like, you know, they were not as smooth as they were today. And in my gym, I don't have a fancy machine equipment section. It's all about free weights because I believe in them, right? You can do anything that is possible using a set of dumbbells and some barbells. Now, let's get on with the exercise, and I'll show you the variation of doing it if you want to isolate a bit more of your pecs or you want to isolate a little bit more of your lats. Okay, so number one is getting your back onto the bench. Right, so if you notice, my back, or the upper back I should say, is flat onto the bench. Now, if I want to isolate my lats a little bit more, what I'm going to do, first of all, I want to grab the dumbbell from the top underneath, right here. All right, so top underneath end is where I'm going to hold my dumbbell, and it's going to be like with a palm pushing upwards and squeezing my thumbs together. That way I don't drop the dumbbell on my head. Now from here, I want to make sure that the motion goes over my head. The moment I don't see the dumbbell anymore is approximately when I want to return back to my starting position. All right, that's super important. So don't go too far out where you're almost dropping the dumbbell onto the ground. I think that's overdoing it. All right, so you want to take care because we talked about keeping our shoulders healthy. So when I go overhead, the moment the dumbbells are out of my sight is the cue to bring it back up. Now, if you look at the posture of my hips, if you look at my hips right now, my glutes, my knees, my quadriceps are parallel to my bench where my back is. All right, so I'm in a plank position like this. All right, so I want to keep that position, that way I protect my lower back. A lot of people will start to sink in as such by bringing their butt towards the ground like this to get a better stretch. And mind you, it will give you a better stretch, but the angle stays the same because the moment you start to drop your hips, that means you're not going as far anyhow. All right, so I like to keep a motion where I'm really straight like this. I bring my dumbbell right over my shoulders and I bring it overhead. Once again, once I'm parallel, I come back. Now, if I want to get a little bit more stretch on the lats, I'm going to ensure my elbows stay tight. Almost when I want to squeeze the dumbbell with my elbows like this. And now, when I squeeze like this, I'm going to get a little bit more of my lats. I'll feel it more stretching in my lats. And as I return, I'll stop right here. If I want a little bit more execution on the pectoral muscles, I'm going to bring the elbows slightly out now, not squeezing with the elbows. And as I get to here, I come back. And now I start to squeeze with the chest muscles. All right, so that's the only trick to make it from chest or more lats. All right, but the motion is about stretching your rib cage, getting the serratus involved. That's super important, and making sure you don't bend your elbows. So you don't want to make this exercise as such like this, bending the elbows and make it into a skull crusher. All right, so I want to get here, overextend, overhead, and come back. All right, let's get a few reps in. All right, so there you have it. That's your dumbbell cross bench pullover. You can also do this parallel to your bench, doing the same thing, but I just find by doing it cross bench, you don't have anything supporting your glutes and your stance. That forces a little bit more of your posture. It fires up the quadricep muscles as well as your hamstrings, as you have to stabilize the lower portion of your body, okay? And that stabilizes your core strength as well as you're doing this exercise. This is a great exercise, guys. You could do it at home. You could do it with, like I said, a gallon of water. You could just do it in shadow without nothing. If you have elastic bands, you bring the elastic bands against a door frame, do the same exercise. The idea is, although we say it's for the pecs and for the lats, it's really beneficial for your shoulders because shoulders are the mobility of everything you do in sports.